like most felons.
How'd you go over with your Trump knife and demand your shit back?
What? Oh, I'm definitely thinking about it. I'm gonna like pull out the blade and go, this is much sharper than a John Kerry bumper sticker.
I like it. Hey, I did have some other stuff I wanted to talk about, though. You don't want to think about your current situation anyway, right? I know I wouldn't want. I don't want to talk about mine. So
yeah, no, because there's nothing I can do. He already went to the casino and lost, everything he made off of fencing my shit.
Oh, bitch.
There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do except commit violent felonies myself, and I've got a little bit too much going on right now to spend a few years in prison.
So CNN thinks because Nintendo canceled a Mario game that Nintendo fans actually think that Mario's going to die. Apparently, I don't know.
I saw a bunch of clickbait sites talking about that. Apparently, like the weird way they worded that the games were going out of print. There were people thinking that they were actually going to kill Mario.
Now, I think that's a perfect business opportunity. You know how everybody jumped on board release the Snyder Cut with Justice League when they found out there were like 4 hours of unreleased footage or whatever and a completely different movie, right? I think that this is another bandwagon, idea. Anybody who has Twitter should hashtag release the death of Mario, okay? Because I think that
the death of Mario sounds like a shitty creepypasta.
No, listen. Don't fuck this up, man. Okay? Listen, this is. I'm not a gamer.
This is a stupid idea.
No, shut up. Don't. This is my only chance.
Do you remember the last time they tried to make the Super Mario Brothers dark and edgy?
No, wait. Don't ruin it yet. Okay? So. You're trying to deflate the idea. No, you can't do this to me. Okay?
This is a stupid idea. What are you, gay?
Man, I haven't heard anybody get this upset over Mario Brothers since I was like 12 years old, and my cousins, who were the only people who had the Nintendo PlayStation, brought it to my grandma's for Christmas, and we were all fighting over who got to play.
The Nintendo PlayStation.
Anyway, I'm not much of a gamer these days.
Whatever, I don't care.
I'm not a gamer these days, but I would play any console that had a Death of Mario game. I'm telling you, it's the next thing that Nintendo should do. The Death of Mario. Think about it. He could finally have. Don't shut up! Don't ruin it. He could have a ghost. He could finally have a Boo ghost power up. Boo. The thing that the ghost that advances on you, and then until you turn around, and then it's like, oh, you could finally have a power up for Mario of that. This is a great idea, and also Lakitu could be like Mario's guardian angel. This just happened. This all like materialized together.
Lakitu's the guy in the cloud with the camera, right?
Yeah.
Why would he be a guard? Why would he be a guardian?
Because he's in the cloud. And I just happened to name the title of this video after that before I saw this thing. So it's like Destiny or something that the Death of Mario is the next like video game like to be created organically through social media. It's the Death of Mario. And Lakitu, it turns out, well, finally, after all these years, we find out, he was never after Mario to begin with. He's actually like his guardian. He's like there to look out for him. He just never realized and jumped into the clouds on his head and shit, and he was trying to help him the whole time. So you could play as Lakitu.
He threw spiked shells at him in the older games.
No, he was throwing them at the turtles and the Goombas and stuff. They
don't hurt the turtles and Goombas, though.
Well, that he meant to. It was a mistake.
That's a stupid idea.
No, it isn't.
What's the matter with you? What are you, gay?
If you have a Twitter and you have a soul, or either one, then hashtag release the death of Mario. Okay.
If you have a Twitter, use it to shit post and don't post about this.
No, hashtag release the death of Mario if you have a Twitter. Please.
You're making his voice crack, Ben. Don't bully him.
No, I'm gonna bully the fuck out of him because this is a stupid idea and he deserves to be bullied for it.
Gracie too. She said
Aw.
she wants release. She wants
Gracie's
the death of
like,
Mario.
please make my daddy stop yelling.
Yeah.
I'm so tired.
Hashtag release the death of Mario if you have a Twitter or a soul.
Well, I don't have a soul. Can I play?
Oh.
Yeah, this is a stupid idea.
No, it is not.
It sounds like your idea sounds like a much shittier version of Luigi's Mansion.
No,
Yeah.
is this time it would actually be like gritty afterlife stuff instead of.
We do not need a gritty Mario Brothers.
We need a gritty Luigi's Mansion.
Just once. Just once.
Isn't Fatal Frame just gritty Luigi's Mansion? I always feel like
You can
that.
argue that. Like apparently the original version of
just Mario and Lakitu teaming up and Mario finally getting a ghost boo power up in the haunted places, in the haunted house levels. This is a good idea.
It does sound like a really shitty version of Luigi's Mansion.
No, Luigi's Mansion is for kids. This is real stuff.
Mario is for kids.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. Mario, what was the last time they tried to make a gritty Mario? We got that shitty Super Mario Brothers movie.
That was not gritty.
It tried to be, but it just sucked.
No, I mean it did suck, but no, that was not gritty. Hashtag release the death of Mario. You can see that Ben has no influence on this campaign. It's gonna
No
go.
one's gonna pick this up. This is stupid. This is your dumbest idea yet.
This is a good idea. It's perfect because they think that we think Mario's dead. It's stupid.
Mario's not dead. Nobody except a few clickbait authors thought Mario was dead.
Thinks that we think that, so we're going to shove it back in their faces.
What did the CNN article even actually say? I didn't bother to look it
I
up.
didn't bother to look either. All I know is I don't care what they said. All I know is that it happened, and now we have a chance to make Nintendo make a Death of Mario game. It's a good idea.
It's not gonna happen.
They say I will live in a world without Luigi. No, that was dumb.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like it, you should go ahead and write out that idea and mail it to Nintendo of America, and I'm sure they'll get right on that.
I'm going to. You think this is the first time that I've ever submitted an idea to a company for their own product?
No, I don't think it's the first time. Jeremy. By a long shot.
Actually, to be honest, I think that I specialize I would specialize in being a creative consultant for some, company that needs fresh ideas for their franchises. And I actually thought about, I don't know about the legal standing I would have to do so, but I would love to put some sort of book together with each chapter, making different suggestions for abandoned or stalled franchises, like for instance, the Death of Mario or my E.T. versus Gremlins idea, which a lot of people seem to think was a good idea. Now you did think that was a good idea. You can't lie about that. Regina, you said it was a good idea. E.T. versus Gremlins.
Did I?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
How recently had I taken my edible that night?
It was a few months ago. You can't now.
Wait, okay, so it was what versus Gremlins? Say one more time.
E.T. versus Gremlins.
Okay, no, now when I slow it down and think about it, I do see the merits of this idea. I do, especially if they team up at the end and then E.T. is leading a gremlin army to build a spaceship.
You can't do that.
Well, I like it when they team up.
What I put in the
don't,
private chat.
It's like with Godzilla versus King Kong. I don't really want to see one fight the other because I think they should be friends fighting another monster. So
there it is, right there. I pitch an E.T. versus Gremlins crossover. There it is, right there.
That's right. Good job, Jeremy. I'm glad that you have evidence of your outrageous claims because without them, it would be too easy to gaslight you.
Listen. So I'm thinking I could put a book together, out with each chapter, like going over the specifics of who owns the rights to which franchise, and how they would they would go about doing crossovers or whatever idea they're I'm exploring for them. And so I would call it like spitballing Hollywood.
I like that name. That's a good one, Jeremy. That's good. I feel like, oh no, Ben just was so disgusted he left, I guess. What the fuck?
What is this? He sent a Goodreads link. What is Dear Nintendo, wait a minute. Okay. I think he just made it like a bullshit quote from me on Goodreads. What is this?
It's from the book Overqualified by Joey Kamal. Sorry, my screen froze, so I had to
wait a minute. So this guy already did it before me?
Oh, that's one of the chapters. The idea of Overqualified is like it's a book of like fucked up cover letters to various companies.
You mean he already thought of my idea?
What did you think of this?
I told you I was going to call it Spitballing Hollywood. I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to do it. Dear Nintendo, we need a new Mario game where you rescue the princess in the first 10 minutes, and for the rest of the game, you try and push down that sick feeling in your stomach that she's damaged goods, a concept detailed again in the profoundly fixed negative instruction booklet. And when Luigi makes a crack about her and Bowser, you break his nose and immediately regret it. When Peach asks you in the quiet of her Mushroom Castle bedroom, "Do you still love me?" You pretend to be asleep. You press the A button rhythmically to control your breath. Keep it even.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Just these cover letters to various companies that belies a very depressed and very depressed and very office rocker person. Because at one point, that's actually only part of it. Another part, he details, we need a flight simulator where you fly back and forth all over the country, but Dad still drinks in the shower, and things like that. I wish I could find the whole one. They used to be online, but they're not anymore.
I'm still going to write Spitballing Hollywood. I'm going to do it. Now, I just wonder, what are the legal, ramifications if I release it? Like, if I don't have art in there from their characters, then it's good, right? It's like fair.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. If you do it like he did it with with an obvious parody or commentary element, then would be fine.
Oh yeah, there have been multiple books published of people just writing prank letters to various organizations. So if you cast it as me pranking these guys, or me trying to get their goat, or me trying to get their attention, and you make it very clear that they're not responsible for your hijinks.
Hashtag release the death of Mario. This is the new direction, Nintendo, I'm telling you.
This is not the new direction.
No,
yes, it is.
Listen to him,
This is the idea.
This is Seriously. The organic
Mr.
direction.
Miyamoto, please ignore him.
Don't.
Yes.
No.
Please ignore the fat, stupid American.
It didn't work for Wagner. It's not going to work for Mario.
You can't ruin this for me. Death of Mario, I'm telling you. It's perfect. And Lakitu was a friend all along. Who knew? That is a good idea, even if Death of Mario isn't.
Here's a better idea.
Lakitu is the smartest character in the Mario series, I'm telling you. Because he oversees everything. From the Goombas to the Shy Guys and Snippets to the big thwomp things that come down and squash.
Well, that's an interesting point. Have you ever heard the concept that because Shigeru Miyamoto is so influenced by theater, that isn't Mario supposed to be basically a play? And so Lakitu is the director of the play, basically.
Now that I did not know, but it makes sense.
I mean, he's a cameraman in the 3D games.
Yeah.
He's a what?
Yeah,
he's a cameraman in the 3D games.
Right.
Yeah, there are a lot of graphics that look like literal Deus Ex Machina.
I think maybe with the first ones and with the 2D ones, I think they were kind of like trying to make it look a little bit like a paper play.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, Paper Mario.
No, like Japanese paper plays.
What is that?
Which are like
that I keep hearing. Is someone clipping their toenails for the last hour?
No, that's probably I'm sorry. I got a new microphone, and so I got to figure out how to position it so in case I'm clicking around, it doesn't.
I understand.
Sound.
I got new gear too to break in. Yeah.
Like Japanese paper plays, they're sort of a form of.
I know what you're talking about.
Telling, like they tell stories with
the one picture,
drawings,
and then there's another one, and then they move that one, and then that one.
Yeah.
Have you ever? Here's a rabbit hole. If you want to go down a rabbit hole tonight after the show, look up the Golden Bat.
I actually know about the Golden Bat. Yeah,
that dude should be in like mainstream comics today, Marvel or DC or Image or something, because that's an awesome character. For one, he's a little overpowered in some of the adventures, movies, or cartoons or whatever, but still an awesome character. You know that has not been released on mainstream.
Mainstream in Japan. Just he hasn't really made it over to the English-speaking world.
He hasn't made it stateside yet.
He's actually apparently popular in like Italy and some parts of South America, though.
Yeah, and there are like movies that were never released that were made for an audience of one of him or something. I think is that right?
It's very popular over in Japan and in Korea and South Korea as well. It's just something that never really made it over to the English-speaking world. It never really caught on.
It's a shame because he's a really awesome character.
Yeah,
what all are
people? He's basically very godlike. I think he's literally like a resurrected god or something like that.
He's what Marvel Comics would call beyond Omega level.
Yeah, something like that.
There he is. Look upon him and despair.
It's basically a golden skeleton and his signature was his very evil sounding laugh.
How does it sound? Make the laugh. Do the laugh.
I can't do it.
No, do it.
You do it first.
I can't remember it. I haven't seen the video in a long time.
Just like think of any evil laugh you can think of, and it's like that.
Okay, well, do any evil laugh you can think of then. There you go.
Something like that.
Yeah, you really are a weeb. I knew I could pull that out of you. What a performance. So anyway, # release the death of Mario. That's the new direction, Nintendo.
If you insist.
Thank you. So you have a Twitter and you're going to repost it, right?
No.
Please?
No.
Do it.
No.
What have you got to lose?
My dignity.
I don't believe that.
I mean, the real answer was just followers to that one. If you really wanted to,
I don't give a shit about followers.
Yeah, but that's what you'd be losing.
Prove it by
yeah, but you don't give a shit about your dignity either.
Hey, then
look, I post shit on my Twitter. Look, I post shit on my Twitter about fucking putting Easter eggs in people's asses, and this is beneath me.
That was funny.
Prove you don't care about followers by hashtagging release the death of Mario. Directly to Nintendo or Shigeru Miyamoto.
I'm not being part of your mental illness, Jeremy.
Just try it. I don't have Twitter.
I'm not being part of this. This is stupid.
Every time I try to start a Twitter, it gets banned within 5 minutes before I can even post.
Well, that's because you don't know how to get around the mods, and you're very bad at it. You have to use a different email, dummy.
No, I know that. How do you think that this channel?
Well, don't tweet it. Don't make your first tweet the N-word.
It wasn't. I was going after this leader in Saudi Arabia.
Well, don't do that either, because Twitter doesn't like people doing the shit like that.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, the only time I got banned on Twitter was for a day when I told Mike Bloomberg he should kill himself.
So anyway, post it if you got a Twitter. You've got a Twitter. Post it if you don't care about followers.
I don't have a Twitter. I don't. Okay,
Yeah,
that's why I'm not posting it.
That's not Regina.
She doesn't have Twitter either.
Regina, I know you've got a Twitter.
My
Repost.
Twitter is
doesn't.
broken.
You can even
My Twitter-
implement the idea.
Twitter machine, bro.
My Twitter is in the shop. I'm sorry.
Get it out there. Get it out there and let people organically.
Is this cyberbullying? I'm sorry.
Yes.
And you got a Twitter, right? For now.
No. No, none of us have Twitter, okay?
She's frozen. What did you do to her?
Your idea
She's
was so
also in the
stupid,
shop.
it made her leave.
Come on, you got it. Ann, have you got a Twitter? Huh?
No, you don't have a Twitter, Ann.
What the hell, man?
Stop scaring her off.
How about
Jeremy,
Okay.
stop talking about this Death of Mario thing. You're scaring the host.
Wait a minute. Put yourself on screen. We'll do rock, paper, scissors.
I'm not doing that now.
Okay, then without the camera.
I'm not doing that now.
Without the camera?
Okay, fine, go ahead.
All right. 1, 2, 3. What did you have?
It's a rock, so it crushes. I win.
Oh man.
I didn't even realize I was frozen. I got distracted.
Okay.
The other drama that's going on at my old apartment is the guy downstairs from me was beating the shit out of his girlfriend last night.
Awesome.
That's why the girl who was supposed to drive the truck for me
Wow.
today overslept because she was dealing with the cops because this shitbag, like, she said the girl looked like hamburger meat.
Jesus.
So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, so I'm getting I'm trying to get rent abatement from the landlord, so I'm not kicked out of that apartment yet. So I'm gonna go over there and we're gonna hide this girl in my apartment so she can get away from this dude.
Okay, before you do that, do you have a Twitter though?
No, she doesn't have a fucking Twitter. Shut up.
I'm trying to keep someone from getting beaten to death, Jeremy.
Yes.
I know that was just important. Sorry.
I realize you're joking, but still.
Y'all are a bunch of. I guess I'm going to get this movement going myself.
We're about nothing if we're not about poor taste, right?
I'm going to have to get this movement going myself. I'm going to have to grease the wheels a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to be a bit distracted, but I got my Trump 2020 knife with me, so I'll be safe. It's just this girl. Oh my God. Like basically both of her eyes were black and all lumpy, like there was structural damage to her face. I mean, I'm glad I wasn't there last night, even though my not being there meant my shit got stolen. Like, they kept the whole building awake because he was just beating the shit out of her. And then the neighbors went down there to try and kick his door in and stop him. And he was holding his hand over her mouth because he didn't want to hear the neighbors. He didn't want the neighbors to hear her screaming for help. But they could, like, hear her struggling through the wall. So they decided they didn't want to get in trouble by kicking down their door. So they called the cops. And the cops came, but like the cops in this town always do, this is what they did when the neighbors downstairs from me were threatening me. They talked to the perpetrator instead of the victim. And so they leave because they're like, oh, well, this person says there's nothing bad going on here. And they just fucking...
God!
Yeah. Like when I called the cops there, when the neighbors downstairs were threatening me, I couldn't get out of my apartment because they were threatening me. So they stood downstairs and intercepted the cops and like had the cops talked into thinking it was already a big nothing burger by the time they went upstairs to talk to me. And that's exactly what they did with this guy who's beating the shit out of his girlfriend. She's like cowering in the apartment, hiding from him. And he's talking to the cops like, no, the bitch just got mouthy. And look, I got a scratch too. And blah, 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 blah. So we just have to take shit into our own hands and hide this girl in my apartment and give her some food and tell her to be quiet.
Jesus.
It's unbelievable.
You know, and it's just, you know, I don't know, man.
I hate people.
I know.
Yep,
That's the
yep.
thing.
Correct.
That's what it just
Correct.
really always
That
comes
is
down
correct.
to.
People suck.
It's just like, why
People are
are
the
people
worst.
like this? I just
Slipknot
don't
had
know.
it. Slipknot had it right. People equals shit.
Yeah. Well, my theory these days is that we're all standing on the shoulders of giants, and most of us aren't giants. So you've basically got, you know, an IQ 80 to 100 ape walking around with all the fruits of every genius of every human society just piled up underneath them. And they're walking around going, what can I fucking kill? You know?
It's like a Master Blaster scenario, except Master is the idiot.
Yeah. It's like Pinky in the Brain, but Pinky is evil and he's in charge. You know? But they have a death ray because someone else built it for them.
It's like Operation Hunger Force. Shake the complete idiot, and malicious one is the one who leads everyone around.
Exactly.
Look, I should not walk so a child may live.
I didn't watch enough episodes of that show to have any idea what the fuck you're talking about. But that actually sounds charitable. I should not walk so a child can live. Okay. But I'm sure in context, it's horrifying.
No, he basically uses it as an excuse to not investigate something bad happening.
Oh, I see. Like just walking away. I should walk. Yeah, that's kind of the attitude of the police in this town. They're like, well, the guy who's beating his girlfriend up says everything's okay, so we'll just go back to the donut shop. Like, how about you look in the apartment where the person is hiding instead of talking to the person who feels okay coming out to the cop car?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, so.
And I'm pretty sure the cops still think that they deserve blue ribbon parades because I'm a cop. I put my life on the line for you. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I mean.
Thin blue line, yeah.
Yeah, well, the woman who's trying to help this girl and who I'm going to meet, she actually used to be, that's the thing, she used to be a firefighter and was like, after one of the really bad hurricanes, was diving in alligator and crocodile infested waters to recover people's bodies so their relatives could have the remains and have a proper funeral. And she, you know, they have a few strikes because the job is stressful, but she got fired when she came out of a burning building holding like the most ridiculously sentimental things, like 2 kittens and a baby. And I'm not even exaggerating. I think that's exactly what it was. She came out of a burning building with 2 kittens and a baby. And like, you know, like climbing down a ladder, flames everywhere. And she gets down and she like pulls off her mask, grabs a cigarette and lights it off like a smoldering door frame.
That's awesome.
Which is completely badass, but it got caught on camera by the local news.
Well, I've heard people get mad at that. That's fucking awesome.
Oh, it's awesome, but she was still wearing her oxygen tank, and it was unprofessional.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she lost her job, and now she's on benefits, which means, you know, she has to live in this building with all these people who are on benefits because they beat their girlfriend, or they're just too criminal to have a job. And she doesn't get as much money per month as they do.
Anyway, looks like Jeremy's wandered off somewhere. I guess his handler lost track of him.
Or maybe he got too depressed by the girl getting beat up.
You read anything this week?
Me?
Or been too busy?
Well, actually, I've found time to read. I've been too busy to work on my own writing. I'm almost done with that horror book I was going to write in 1 week, but then the ceiling crashed in on me again. Finishing that up, but I there's just too much shit going on this week for me to actually write. So I read a couple of books by, what's his name? Prunty, the Sorrow King guy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Which ones?
The first one I read was The Sorrow King, because that was what you all recommended. And it was really good, but I didn't find the ending quite satisfying because it was just too, like, writerly.
Wait, which
you know
one?
what I mean?
Which one?
The Sorrow King.
Okay.
Like, it was just too, I guess too well fitted for writers to read and, you know, feel like, yeah, that's what writing does, and that's what our community is about. And I kind of get sick of writing being centered around writers, because it's just another reminder of how, like, the quote unquote writing community is kind of a circle jerk and isn't read by the general public anymore, because, you know, I mean, his book is really good, but a lot of the books that get popular aren't so good, and so the general public doesn't think we're all that in a bag of chips. And then the writers who are good read things that are obviously geared towards writers. And so there was something that's my long way of saying there was something I found unsatisfying about the way that book ended. Not that it wasn't well done, but that it was just too perfectly writerly, if you know what I mean.
Now, did you say you read multiple Prunty books? No?
Yeah. Well, see, the thing was, I really enjoyed reading that book. And it was good on a lot of levels. It's just the ending left me with a lot of questions. Like, can he write anything that's not just directed to sort of kiss the ass of the writerly community? Because the ending was good and technical, and it gave me a little warm feeling, but then it gave me this little nagging feeling of, like, you know, this is too much insider baseball, I think. You know, I don't want to give spoilers, but since you guys have read the book, you can probably guess what I'm talking about.
I think that Prunty is usually a shining example of write for readers, not writers. But this was earlier in his career. I know that.
Right, which is why I'm glad that I read more stuff, because, you know, I did really enjoy it. So I was wondering if he had anything, you know, that was more reader centric, I guess is the word.
Okay. I heard that Zero Strata was a really warm-hearted, you know, for readers type book. I heard that it was just somebody told me that it was just a warm-hearted book with it's not even really, I don't think there's any cussing in it or anything. If it is, it's mild. It's
well, that's not what makes something reader friendly. I mean,
I know.
I mean, without saying too much, that ending was just too much insider baseball. Like, it kind of hinted that, you know, the way to deal with things is to be a writer and write things down. And, you know, you have to write a sequel because, you know, that thing will be back again. But the way we defeated it was by writing a story about it. And I was like, you know, I got emotional satisfaction out of that, but I just wanted it just didn't sit right with me. So the next one I read was Sociopaths in Love, which is a completely different book. You know, it's a completely different kind of thing. And I really enjoyed that book, even though I don't really like sociopaths, which I think was kind of the point, to get people who don't really enjoy the company of sociopaths to sort of see things through their eyes. And it's also interesting because Regina was just talking about the theme of cannibalism, and that book took a totally different, like, it's not a non-sympathetic look at cannibalism, but it's a totally different angle, I guess, because the main character is watching a cannibal, you know, and she's sort of like him, but she's not a cannibal, and she's really kind of turned off by the cannibalism. So that, I'm glad that I, you know, went on to the second one, because it was a much, I kind of felt like, okay, this is a real book. This is not like a writer's convention, you know, the prosaic form of the hymn that you would sing at the end of the writer's convention to convince us all that we're not throwing our lives away. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, have you read or seen Tender is the Flesh floating around on Goodreads?
No.
That kind of, I feel like, is a little bit of a similar concept. I feel like the theme of cannibalism and the theme of like alienation and the pursuit of intimacy are like very closely connected themes. And there's also just like a general societal theme, obviously, with like the eat the rich kind of a theme that we've seen in society and all this. And I feel Tender is the Flesh is more about like the societal side of things. So that's very interesting. So what was the title of this book again, one more time?
Sociopaths in Love.
That's right. I've seen that title around.
Yeah, and there was a Netflix show that I could have sworn ripped off the concept of Sociopaths in Love, but then the two of them really diverged, and I enjoyed that show too. So it's, it was unique, and yet it reminded me of something else. And like I said, I'm really glad I gave him a second chance and moved on to another book, because that, like, as grotesque as the things that the characters did, I really enjoyed like being in their world. And you know, there's certain movies and books where no matter what disgusting things happen, you just sort of get a good feeling out of being immersed in that world.
Totally.
If that makes sense.
Totally.
I'd really highly recommend Neon Dies at Dawn. That's a very noirish. It's a very noirish kind of book, and it's about it takes place in like a dying Ohio neighborhood, a dying Ohio suburb. Like it's gotten to the point, like it's so bad that the main character like has like people like knocking on his door to ask him for like money and cigarettes and shit. And it's the plot of it is that this like small time crime boss got his daughter, either his daughter or his granddaughter, hooked on drugs and then pimped her out and then killed her. And so it's like him trying to get revenge on the guy.
I know I can recommend a few of Prunties that are actually, you might enjoy. One of them is a departure because it's not genre specific at all. It's just a guy who's like a writer that never writes, who self-published things and is pretty much has never experienced success. And his brother, who comes into town hiding basically from people who are after him, and they kind of get into this rivalry with someone online who is done up a deep fake on the main character, so it looks like he was talking to someone underage, but he really wasn't. It's called Squirm With Me. And also My Fake War, which is about a guy who meets this. Jesus. Is that the wind?
No, I'm gonna mute myself because it's just traffic.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, My Fake War. I don't remember too much about it, just that I enjoyed it. This guy meets this alien. It's the only other alien on the planet, only other living thing on the planet that I can recall. And he kind of like has, it's what it sounds like. He kind of imagines, going to war. The other alien claims that they're out there, but he can't see them. But so he kind of just has to imagine in order to go to war with him. If I'm remembering it right, it's been so long, and a lot of drugs, even more drugs were consumed back then. But that's what I remember about it. I seem to remember about it. My Fake War and Squirm With Me are, I think, two of my favorite Prunty books. So there you go, Ann.
It's a kind of interesting because the first Prunty book I read was Slag Attack, which was almost like an 80s sci-fi thriller, and it's much different from Neon Dies at Dawn, which was the second book of his that I read.
Mm-hmm. Hell, man,
Sorry, I'm not responding because I've got myself muted because It's amazing how loud a single car's engine can be when you're in California and everyone's a douchebag.
It has become fashionable to not have a muffler. That's what bugs me.
I think around the time that it became fashionable to be absolutely desperate for any kind of attention whatsoever.
Yeah. I think that's the connection.
It's like in Judge Dredd, where there's a subculture of people who literally dress like clowns just to get people to notice them.
So the beard is another good one by Anderson Prunty. It's really funny. It was one of his first he ever wrote.
That's interesting.
Okay,
I've been aware.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I've been aware of Prunty's work for a long, long time, and Sorrow King was the first one, and really I think the only one that I've read of his to date so far. But my God, it's like it's been really interesting because, like I said, I think I was first aware of like one of his first two books. I think Driver's Guide to Hitting Pedestrians in like 2008 or 2009. So to get kind of come back to Bizarro and Splatterpunk and see his name still being bandied about, with more fervor than ever, I think was like really kind of heartwarming and reassuring in a way.
I thought Drunk Driver's Guide to Hitting Pedestrians was Eric Henriksen, or am I thinking of a different one?
I thought it was Anderson Prunty. Maybe I'm wrong.
Look it up, Jeremy.
He's very prolific. We'll say that.
You got Goodreads pulled up. Look it up.
Driver's Guide to Hitting Pedestrians. Yes, he did write that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And also, didn't he also write "Help a Bear Is Eating Me," or was that Mike Lance?
I think that
was Michael. I can't remember his last name.
And then there was another one: "Fill the Grand Canyon and Live Forever." I don't know what the deal is with that, but I mean, I don't know. It sounded funny at the time. He's written a lot of stuff. "Hi, I'm a Social Disease." Yeah.
That has a great cover.
Yeah. Kind of Irvine Welsh-ish.
Did you see that truck? If those guys, if those guys turned their fucking truck around, I was gonna get ready to stab people.
Well, were they trying to hit on you?
Oh, they were yelling at me out the window.
Okay. Oh, so you didn't hear anything we were saying then, because you were.
No, I was like, I think they were yelling in Spanish, and I was trying to make out what they were saying, but they just wisely minded their own business once they realized I wasn't.
And gets catcalled. Take a drink. It's a drink.
Yeah. $40. Wow, that was me. See, every time I try to speak Italian or Spanish now, after sporadically trying to study both of them, it comes out neither.
What are you doing out this late anyway? If you know people act like that.
Everyone acts like that in every state.
Yeah, especially California, especially these fucking desert rats. I'm actually going back to my old apartment to help the aforementioned former firefighter and her boyfriend load up the truck and, possibly she's got my keys, so she can hide that girl in there anytime she wants, but we might discuss some details of that. I don't know. But mostly I'm just going to help them load up the truck and drive it over to my new place so that I can be done with this fucking shit show.
Yeah, somebody needs to get in touch with the people who run that place and say, what the hell are you, doing, man?
Yeah, well, what they're doing is trying to get guaranteed money from the county so they won't have to depend on, renters to actually pay their rent.
Well, maybe somebody look that up for them then. I mean, I'm not beneath taking action like that. I mean,
yeah, well, I'm already suing them for rent abatement, so I might be getting a couple $1,000s of rent I paid back. I didn't pay the rent for March because now I know that landlords in California will never give you your security deposit back under any circumstances unless you take them to court. And since I don't like going to court, I just didn't pay them for a month. But I'm also suing for rent abatement because I have not had a single day of quiet enjoyment here. And yeah, it seems really dark because Californians don't believe in streetlights. But once you see the great big pink building, you'll know that I'm almost to my old home.
Frank, well, I mean, it kind of puts a damper on the talking about Prunty, but Frank recommends we don't talk about her and failure is a way of life. He's really got a lot of zingers for titles, and he's very prolific. It's amazing how many things.
Yeah, the third one I read, I just finished it this morning, was We Don't Talk About Her. I didn't
like it. I didn't like that one. See,
it was too short. It cut off really abruptly. I was just getting into it, and all of a sudden it's over.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have an idea that you only want to stick with for so long, and who am I to say that you should, be locked in a cage and forced to make that book longer?
Only the
Stephen
reader.
King's already done that idea to death. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
I was just saying, only the reader. No one whose opinion matters, just the audience.
Yeah.
How many retweets we got for the death of Mario?
0.
-3.
Huh? 3?
-3.
Yeah, because you lame ass don't get with the movement.
Well, I'm not really in front of my computer right now. You can tweet it at me, and I'll retweet it in the morning.
I don't have a Twitter. They won't let me have one. I don't want it because I hate it.
Well, get a VPN, pretend to be someone else. This shit is very simple. People make stuff.
Yeah, but Twitter's not worth that. I mean, I hate social. The only reason I got Facebook is to check in on my girl, my lady friend that did a little dance with the law there a few weeks ago.
By check in, you mean stalk?
No, I work with her.
And by did a little dance, you mean got arrested.
I work with her. She lives right down the road. It's not stalking.
I feel like anytime you have to say, no, it's not stalking, it's kind of like,
Believe me, she has stalkers in her life. I'm not one of them.
Well, that's good, Jeremy. Yeah. I know we're just teasing you. You know that, right?
But I hated getting Facebook back after all these years. I considered it a badge of honor to not have it, and I still try not to post too much on it. I only got it back, like I said, to see if her mugshot would pop up anywhere, on there. She would, flaunt it or something. But and to make sure she's not getting herself in deeper when she's not at work or So it's the only reason I got Facebook, and I planned on getting right back off. But now I can share the links, and they actually go out to people, instead of people having to seek me out. It's the links get posted there. So, But I don't want Twitter. I don't want Twitter back. I just want to get the death of Mario going as a thing, man. Come on.
It's not gonna
help a brother out. Help a Mario brother out.
No.
Damn it! This is you lack vision, Ben. You don't want to play as a ghost Mario?
No.
This sounds like a creepypasta. Why don't you just write a creepypasta where this?
It does sound like one of those stupid creepypastas.
Just be like deadmario.avi.
Yes, and then Mario started bleeding hyper-real.
Yeah, so it's like realistic.
Because done like for real with Nintendo's, like designing engineering power or whatever. I mean, and he could have a thwomp power up too. The things that go down and try to squash you. He could have the power-ups of all the things in the haunted.
He already has that in most games.
No, he does not. Not like a thwomp thing.
How would you even use a thwomp power if the thwomps can't move?
They come down, man.
They can only move up and down. They can't go left and right.
that's one of the problems if you get the power up. See, you gotta pick and choose.
That's stupid. Oh, you have a power up where you can't fucking move at all.
And maybe it's like a temporary power up, like the star that makes everything, makes him invincible to everything. It's a temporary power up. That's what it is. This is
a temporary power up where you can't even move in a platformer.
Right. It would only be for like situations where you need something to get the hell out of the way and you got to squash them. I'm telling you, I've thought of everything here.
I don't think you've thought this through.
You just lack vision.
Yeah, that's the problem. Okay, yeah. Well, now that that's settled,
they're debuting a character in Marvel Comics in a month called Threadneedle. Okay, don't talk to me about bad ideas. The death of Mario is a cohesive, downright rational thing. B follows A. Okay, the CNN says we think Mario's dying. Okay, death of Mario.
Not happening. Regina, did we already go through what you've read?